Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life, the podcast. This is Life Coach Myrna Young. And today I want to talk to you on the topic, Just Go, God Will Show the Way. And this is my 5-minute segment with Coach Myrna that I do every Friday. So welcome to the show. So the reason that I wanted to talk to you about this, Just Go, God Will Show You the Way, is because it's part of my bio. You know, I talk a lot about my book on the show, which is, my book is called Out of the Snares, a story of hope and encouragement. And on there, I talk about several instances when God said to me, go, and I will show you the way. So I want to start off today by using as my foundational scripture, Genesis 12:1. And the Lord said to Abram, go from your land, your relatives, and your father's house to the land I will show you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make you famous, and you will be a blessing to others. So back in 2000, God spoke to me and told me to go to the USA, that the USA is my promised land, my land of milk and honey. And then I should leave my home in Toronto, Canada, my family, my friends, everything, and go. The only thing I took with me was my limousine business. He told me to go, and he will show me the way when I get there. God also said to me, if you're willing to pay the price up front, then I will show you the way. So I packed my bags and moved to Florida, and God did as he promised. He showed me the way. He ordered my footsteps. I just followed my intuition and looked for guidance. The first thing I did when I found my way in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, was to look for an office for my limousine service business. I found an office on a busy street, and I thought, you know what? I will just park my limousine up front and put a sign that says rent me. And immediately, the complex told me no parking for stretch limousines here. So I couldn't find any way to park my car, my limousine. And I had the brilliant idea. When I say brilliant, it was really stupid. But again, this is God guiding me. I passed by this church parking lot and it was empty. And I said, you know what? Church only happens on a Sunday. You can tell I wasn't going to church regularly at the time. So I said, church only happens on a Sunday. They've got all this space. They're not going to mind me parking my limousine here. And I just went and I parked my limousine there and put my sign that says rent me with my phone number. And the very next day, the senior pastor called me. He says, young lady, you parked your limousine in my lot without asking permission. And I says, I'm sorry, I thought you guys were there during the week. And I just thought I'll utilize the space. He says, well, we are. And if you want to park your limousine here, then we can work out some kind of arrangements. You write me up a proposal and let me know what you're willing to do. We can barter where, we have a lot of youth groups and maybe you can take the youth out for a spin every week or something. So I said, fine. So I put pen and paper and I decided that I was going to write a proposal and drop it off. When I dropped it off at the office, standing right up front was Pastor Tony, the senior pastor of the church. And he invited me to church. That's what pastors do. And I will tell you that started my relationship with Living Word Fellowship Church. I, was very instrumental in the church. My daughter got saved. I got saved. I was the head of the children's ministry, and I just blossomed as a person, as a human. And so did my daughter, who was only 11 years old at the time. So that is how God showed me the way. That is how he led me by the Spirit to a church that I can grow and learn and blossom in his word. All right. So after that, I just kept moving forward. But, as the Bible says, and as, Martin Luther King says, that when you're moving forward, sometimes you only see the next step and you never see the entire staircase. Like if you're driving a long distance, Your headlights only show you about 200 yards in front of you, but you know you've got to go 600 miles, right? But you keep going in faith, knowing that if you keep just following that headlight, you will get there. And that's what I did. So I did a lot of things, I got rid of limousine service. I got married, got a green card, started working in the corporate world. And then one day, God showed me something in a newspaper and said, this is what I want for you. You need to become a life coach. I listened. And I moved immediately. In the next couple of months, I started school. I was becoming a life coach because I knew right away that that's what he wanted for me. Moving forward, the month that I graduated with my coaching certificate from the University of Miami is the same month I got fired from my corporate job. I became a self-employed life coach. Again, God showed me the way. I was only a life coach for maybe about a year or so when someone invited me to be a guest on their radio show. And the radio station, which is WDJY 99.1 FM in Atlanta, liked my personality and offered me my own show. Then I heard about podcasting and I thought, you know what? I'm going to convert my radio show into a podcast. So I have a radio now, I have a podcast. And then my email, someone sent me an email and said, hey, you can apply for sponsorship on PTWWN TV, which is Preach the Word Worldwide Television Network. So now my show is a radio show, it's a podcast, and it's a television show. None of this would have happened to me if I didn't follow God's word. And when he said go, I go. I didn't see any of this when I packed up and left Toronto. God said go, and I went. When I left Toronto, I thought that I was going to become a huge limousine service. My goal was 250 limousines or something. But as soon as I got here, I realized that that's not really the path I wanted to be. But each step along the way, God tested me, seeing if I was willing to do the work, seeing if I was willing to sacrifice. I had to go through the wilderness. God said, before I give you a lot, I have to see what you can do with a little. Are you a good steward? I remember I was so broke one time and had no money for food or gas. I was doing the sales job, selling, I went to different things before I found my way. I was selling vacation properties at 100% commission. And I worked all day, all week, I should say, and I didn't get any data, and I was broke. God said, go to the ATM. I said, I thought I didn't have any money in there. I went to the ATM and I found $40 in my account. What do you know? I can eat. I had money for gas. I don't even know where it came from. I was ecstatic. But guess what? I've never been there again, right? God showed me the way, and I was able to find a job, and I was able to do all kinds of things, make lots of money, become very, very successful before I branched off to becoming a life coach. My life continued to be filled with favor and synchronicity. Those of you know what that means. Synchronicity is that coincidences kept happening that propel you forward, right? God also said, go, and I will make you a great nation. I will make your name great. Today, my podcast and my name is great. You are listening to me in one of 156 countries around the world. So, yes, that's what happened once you have faith, once you follow instruction, once you're connected to your source. And I shared my story today to encourage you to go. God will show you the way. Pick up a copy of my book, Out of the Snares, A Story of Hope and Encouragement, and see how God showed me the way in so many different instances. I only shared a few with you today. So I believe that I was born to bring light to others. That's my purpose. And I've had lots of, mediums and clairvoyants on the show, and they've confirmed that. Even my astrological chart has confirmed that I'm here. I was born to do what I'm doing right now. And that is how God got me into position, because you got to be in position. So that's my purpose. So what is your purpose? Ask yourself, what is your purpose? And I also want to let you know that we see things not as they are, but as we are. So it all starts off with fixing yourself, fixing you, fixing your mindset, fixing your thoughts, right? You have to believe in the promise. God said, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. If you don't believe in the word or the spirit of what God said about you to you, then you will never receive the promise. For example, you have to believe in the word, you have to believe in the gesture, and you have to believe in the spirit behind the words, that God will turn every weapon formed against you for your good, that everything works out for your good. That's just one of the scriptures that I stand on, but I'm letting you know that I believe in that wholeheartedly. And what happens? All weapons formed against me does not prosper, because I believe it. I inhabit it, right? So everything God is going to do for you has already been set aside. But sometimes he makes you go the long way. The Israelites wandered in the wilderness for 40 years, and that was not the direct route. So sometimes God is going to take you around and about through several different times. But all I want to encourage you today is that you should keep going, and he will show you the way. All right, guys, listen. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of 5-Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. Hope to see you back here next week, same time, for another episode. If you're listening to this on YouTube, would love for you to rate and review. Subscribe. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Spotify or any one of those places, I would love for you to subscribe as well as rate and review. Thanks for tuning in. Until next week, namaste.